Well, good morning and welcome to 755 Live. I hope software is not working this morning, so don't have our fancy countdown or the things going across the screen, but we're trying. So I hope that you're able to hear this, and we're at a different location for early morning prayer this week. Thanks to the generosity of the owners of the Blue Goose here. And so you may hear music in the background, construction crew here doing some work. So anyway, we are here for Jesus Said. You can find a different command of Jesus every day at our Bible plan at bible.today.church. Today's Jesus Said is from Matthew 16, verse 6, and then verses 11 and 12. But we're going to read this whole thing today. Jesus said, "Watch out for false teaching." In Matthew 16, verse 6, "Watch out," Jesus said to them, "beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." The Pharisees and the Sadducees were the two opposing religious groups of that day. Verse 7, "So they began to discuss this among themselves, saying, 'Is it because we have brought no bread?'" These were the disciples asking this. When Jesus learned of this, he said, "You who have such little faith, why are you arguing among yourselves about having no bread? Do you still not understand? Don't you remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000? And how many baskets you took up? Or the 7 loaves for the 4,000? And how many baskets you took up?" Jesus reminded them of all the miracles where God had provided bread. And he said, "How could you not understand that I was not speaking to you about bread, but beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees?" Then they understood that he had not told them to be on guard against the yeast in bread, but against the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. The yeast was the teaching. Yeast changes what it's exposed to. It causes growth and expansion. Jesus used the word doctrine here, didache, teaching that leads to action. There's a document from the first century of teachings called the Didache, and it's not a philosophical document, but it's a how-to manual. The Pharisees taught this is how you obey. That was the teaching, and yet Jesus said, beware of that teaching. In other places, Jesus said, do what the Pharisees said, but not what they did. Beware of false teaching, that leads to wrong action or even to no action. You know, there's a lot of false teaching today. Good words, correct information, but incomplete, with very little accountability to actually change. If you scan through the top-selling Christian books, very little is about actually doing what Jesus said, but it's information-based rather than obedience-based. Many of the topics are more about self-help, being successful, being a good leader, or understanding all the right theology or philosophy. But it's not words or belief that Jesus was warning against. It's false teaching that doesn't really change us. Jesus said in Matthew 24 that we would be arrested, persecuted, killed, you'll be hated, and sin will be rampant anywhere. And it's in that context that he says, "Many will turn away from me and betray and hate each other, and many false prophets will appear and will deceive many people." What is false teaching? Anything that teaches there's any other way into the kingdom other than repentance and dying to yourself and to your own desire. Jesus never said, "Follow me, it's more fun. Follow me and be successful." No, he said, "Take up your cross daily and follow me." That's really happiness. That's real blessing. That's where the John 10:10 abundant life kicks in. The yeast of false teaching will quickly expand and increase unless we guard against it. Jesus said, watch out for false teaching. Make sure that what you are following sounds and looks like what Jesus did and said. Jesus said, watch out for false teaching. How can we put that into action today?